Have you ever wondered why some highly intelligent people make completely irrational decisions? Or why, even when faced with overwhelming evidence, some individuals cling to unfounded beliefs? What explains this resistance to logic and common sense? Could stupidity be a far more complex phenomenon than we imagine? These questions lead us to the reflections of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, one of the most brilliant thinkers of the 20th century. Today, we will explore his ideas, understand his perspective on human stupidity, and reflect on the relevance of his thoughts in today's world. Get ready for an intriguing and eye-opening intellectual journey. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian, lived through one of the most turbulent periods in European history. His thinking was shaped by the horrors of Nazism and World War II. More than simply opposing the Nazi regime, he sought to understand the essence of human nature. For Bonhoeffer, stupidity was an even more dangerous force than evil, as it proved far more difficult to combat. He argued that stupidity was not merely a lack of intelligence but a social and moral phenomenon. He observed that highly capable individuals could act foolishly in certain circumstances, particularly in environments where ideology and power exerted strong influence. For him, stupidity was a collective problem, fueled by settings where reflection and questioning were discouraged. One of the core aspects of his theory is that stupidity is even more dangerous than evil. While evil can be confronted with arguments and evidence, stupidity resists any attempt at enlightenment. A foolish person is locked within their own convictions, ignoring any data that contradicts their perspective. This behavior is not only irrational but also reveals an inability to recognize one's own irrationality. Bonhoeffer identified social conformity as one of the primary roots of stupidity. When individuals passively surrender to the norms and expectations of a group, they lose their ability to think independently. This effect is intensified by charismatic leaders and oppressive regimes that encourage blind obedience and eliminate any form of questioning. In his work Letters and Papers from Prison, Bonhoeffer discusses the moral responsibility of individuals in societies dominated by stupidity. For him, it is essential for each person to develop critical thinking skills and resist the pressure to conform. True courage lies not only in opposing evil but also in refusing to be consumed by collective mediocrity. He also emphasized the crucial role of education and culture in shaping critical thinking. Societies that promote open debate and reflection tend to produce individuals more resistant to stupidity. Conversely, environments dominated by superficial entertainment and ideological propaganda foster irrationality. One of the greatest lessons from his theory is that combating stupidity goes far beyond simply providing information. It requires a constant effort to cultivate wisdom, humility, and independent thinking. This means being willing to revise our own beliefs when confronted with new evidence. Bonhoeffer saw faith as a powerful instrument against stupidity, provided it was not dogmatic. For him, true spirituality involved a constant search for truth and an openness to questioning even one's own beliefs. In this way, faith becomes a source of enlightenment rather than an obstacle to critical thinking. The impact of his ideas on stupidity becomes even more evident in the digital age. Social media clearly demonstrates how misinformation can spread rapidly in environments that discourage questioning and encourage conformity. In particular, social networks create information bubbles, where individuals are only exposed to opinions that reinforce their preconceived notions. This generates a cycle of misinformation and irrationality, making it even harder to access a broader and more balanced view of reality. Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity also leads us to consider the role of leadership. Leaders who encourage critical thinking and value different perspectives are essential in preventing the spread of collective stupidity. Conversely, those who impose blind obedience and reject any form of questioning only reinforce this problem. He emphasizes that stupidity is not just an intellectual limitation, but also a moral dilemma. Combating stupidity requires the courage to stand for the truth, even when it is unwelcome or comes with risks. It is an invitation to integrity and social responsibility. His perspective reminds us that the pursuit of justice and truth is a continuous effort. In a world where misinformation and conformity are often encouraged, developing critical thinking skills and resisting the temptation to passively accept what is imposed on us becomes crucial. For him, education was an indispensable tool in the fight against stupidity. But it was not enough to simply transmit knowledge. Students needed to be taught how to think independently and critically. This kind of education shapes more aware citizens who are better prepared to face reality. Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity has direct implications for our daily lives. By understanding how it arises and manifests, we can adopt strategies to prevent it, seeking diverse sources of information, questioning our own certainties, and being willing to change our minds when necessary. He also challenges us to look within ourselves and recognize the ways in which we may unknowingly contribute to collective stupidity. This process requires humility and a constant commitment to self-reflection. By acknowledging our own flaws and limitations, we become more effective agents in promoting rationality. According to him, resisting stupidity requires the creation of communities that value truth and critical thinking. Such environments allow people to share ideas, engage in constructive debates, and broaden their understanding of the world. Bonhoeffer reinforces that the fight against stupidity is not an individual task, but a collective one. Each of us has a role in defending truth and rational thinking. Whether in the way we communicate, the media we consume, or how we engage with society, every action can make a difference. His reflection on stupidity is a call to action. We cannot afford to be passive in the face of forces that promote conformity and irrationality. We must stay vigilant, be courageous, and commit to truth, even when the path is challenging. Bonhoeffer's theory carries a message of hope. By understanding the roots of stupidity, we can take action to minimize it. We can build a society that values truth, welcomes critical thinking, and encourages each individual to think independently and responsibly. Are we truly prepared to combat stupidity around us? Do we have the willingness to question our own beliefs and seek the truth, even when it pushes us out of our comfort zone? Bonhoeffer's reflections challenge us to be more than mere spectators in the fight for rationality and justice. They invite us to act, to think, and to contribute to a better world. And are you ready for this challenge? Thank you for watching, and until next time.